Now that we've talked about politics and Jesus and stuff for an hour, over an hour.
Yeah.
I have some stories actually.
Sweet.
Some more fun stuff. First of all, we talked about police at some point. I'm pretty sure.
I think we did.
I have a story about cops.
Are you joining the police?
No.
Okay.
I was door dashing, right? And I went to pick up an order at Big Whiskey's, right?
Nice.
I walk in there, and there's a table with like 6 to 8 cops, right? Like a whole table of cops. It's like 9 o'clock at night. Like they're getting their dinner before either going home or a big night shift or whatever. And so they're having a good time. They're getting their order taken and stuff. But just a big table, a bunch of cops. And so I walk in and I see them. And as soon as I see them, I hear the music that's playing. The music that's playing is I Shot the Sheriff. And Big Whiskey's late at night, they don't play their music quietly.
No.
It was literally like background music. Like from a movie. Like I see the cops. I go, wow, that's a lot of cops. And it's just, I shot the sheriff. Like, I was just like, what the heck?
The timing of it is just too good to be true.
I was like, and honestly, like literally it could have been from a movie because I said under my breath, I was like, what the heck? And then immediately just, I did not shoot the deputy. Like it was like perfectly timed and like melodic how it all happened. And I was just like, huh? What's happening? Also, I had been door dashing for like 4 hours at this point, so I'm like delirious. And it's late and I'm tired. And I'm just like, what is going on? And like the cops are like the only people in there as well. And so it's just me, a bunch of cops, and just I Shot the Sheriff playing loudly. It was so funny. I also saw like 12 people get pulled over in the span of like 3 to 4 hours.
Jeez, why?
I don't know. I think they're practicing for the big, like the Super Bowl weekend.
Oh gosh.
Because, okay, I don't know if y'all know this. Here's a pro adulting tip. Because apparently I'm way more of an adult than most people in their 20s.
It's just true. I don't know what I'm doing.
Just fake it till you make it. That's what I've been doing since
I hate
was
that
16.
so much. I've been told that since high school. And I'm like, can I just for once know what I'm doing?
No. Like there was one time someone was like, hey, can you help me like jump my battery? Like jumpstart my car? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do that. And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Dude, that could kill you if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. I called my dad and I was like, hey, how do you put the thing, like what order? Do you do like negative to negative and positive to positive? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, so you just hook that up, turn on the donor car and then turn on the dead car? And he's like, yep. I'm like, okay, thank you. And I just figured out the rest. But it was like, it was just something I've never done before. And I had every right to be like, I don't know if I'm comfortable doing that. Like I could really break stuff. But I was like, you know what? I'm confident in my ability to just wing it. And also I know probably more than the average person about electrical stuff. So I know to like put the neutrals on first and then do the positives. Don't let the positive and the negative touch or it'll spark and maybe catch fire and stuff like that.
Electrical stuff has always freaked me out.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a good span of time in my life where I was like, all right, electricians make a lot of money. I want to make a lot of money because I want to like provide and have a family.
Right.
So I went to do that. It did not end well, mostly because my boss taught me nothing and expected the world.
Yeah.
So, but the end of it was really like, okay, I'm not against doing electrical work because at this point, like towards the end, I was just working with your dad, my grandpa. climbing in attics and like opening up boxes, pretending like I knew what I was doing, and fixing stuff with your dad yelling at me through the ceiling.
Yeah,
I did that for months, and honestly, I kind of miss it.
it's great. I legit like I've had people ask me about like, hey, you know electrical stuff, right? I'm like, yeah, and what I don't tell them is I know a lot less than I make it sound. And they're like, okay, I need lights installed, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. And it's like I'm perfectly capable of it, and I'm not gonna do something that's like I'm gonna verify with my dad, who's an actual electrician. I'm gonna be like, hey, did I do this right before I ever turn the power on?
Well, here's the thing.
I have
Your dad's not even a
experience.
certified electrician, but he knows electrical systems better than a lot of electricians do.
Yeah, because he was trained by the Navy.
He's trained by the Navy.
So the Navy knows how to do it right, like actually right, not to code, right.
So it actually
Like-
works and is not dangerous.
Yeah.
It may not be to code, but it's actually safe and not a threat to your house.
And it's like my dad does it to code because he knows what the code is, but not only does he know what the code is, he knows why the code is the way it is, which means he knows when there's exceptions.
Yeah, there's one time when we had to make an exception because like to code means all the wires have to be in their box and capped and all that.
Mhm.
Correct. That makes sense. Except when that box is way too small and has a lot of wires in it.
Yeah.
So there's one case in which it's like, he's like, hey, if we just cram this back in the box and throw the plate on, it's going to short out and and like spark and catch on fire again.
Yeah.
Because that's what caused the problem to begin with, was that the box is too small. There wasn't enough room for the wires to exist. And so he's like, all right, this is what we're doing. We're going to like remove this stuff around here, and we're going to like tape it up, cap it, and I think tape it up again, and leave it outside of the box so it's not like being strained and bent in a way to where it's going to do what it did the first time. And he's like, that is the real solution. Is it up to code? Absolutely not.
But it will not catch on fire.
But it won't catch on fire. So it's like, to code in that situation would have put that person's house at risk of burning down.
Yeah. But anyway,
Yeah,
enough about the my credentials as a functioning adult. But the here's a pro tip, and some people might have figured this out. In the weeks leading up to a major holiday, especially a holiday where drinking is a common celebration, so St. Patrick's Day, Cinco de Mayo, New Year's, the Super Bowl,
Super Bowl.
Things like this. In the week or two leading up to it, the cops will be going absolutely crazy and will pull you over for darn near anything. I had a friend who got pulled over for going 7 over the speed limit. 7. Who gets pulled over for going 7 miles over the speed limit? No one. I've gone 15 past a cop, did not get pulled over. But if it's like a petty thing like that, they're just practicing and they're not going to give you a ticket as long as you're not a weirdo.
So long as your crap is up to date and you are
if there isn't another thing,
respectful.
If there isn't another reason why they should give you a ticket, you're going to be fine.
This is where I'm a little stressed though. So going back to my car, I'm waiting for the paperwork from Kentucky with my registration and like tag to put on my plate. And it's like, I need to get that like in the next couple days because
yeah, usually
stressful.
though, with at least the local cops,
They should be understanding.
you go like, yes, I've ordered it. It's coming into the mail because I have to get them out of state, because I don't know if you noticed, but I have out of state plates. And so like I'm in the process of doing the legal things, and they go, cool, awesome. Everything else checks out, so I'll let you go on that.
Like say to
That's
the cop,
usually
it's
how-
like, hey, do you want like the 2-minute explanation or the 15-minute explanation? Because like I'm sure if I sat down with a cop, like not even at a traffic stop, but like if like for whatever reason, let's say I'm at like a coffee shop and I sit down with a cop to talk about the situation. He'll probably be like, yeah, that sounds like our government.
No, I mean,
It's like,
cops
yep.
are super chill. And so basically what I'm getting at is in the weeks leading up to big holidays or events or something, just chill, especially if you're in a state where there's a football team that's probably going to go to the Super Bowl, like Missouri. Go Chiefs. The Missouri police departments are like ramping up their like practice and stuff and like getting really good at like really controlling traffic and making sure drivers are being safe and stuff. It's also like a scare tactic. If you get pulled over a week before you planned on, getting pretty tipsy and then driving home, all of a sudden when you're tipsy and planning on driving home, you go, "Oh, I got pulled over last week. That was terrible. I'm going to get an Uber or I'm going to get my friend to drive me home." And so
that he gets in trouble and not me.
so it's like, it's a scare tactic too. Also, like the weekend after Christmas or like whatever day most people are going to be driving home, cops are going to be, especially like sheriff's departments and state troopers, they're going to be on their A game because they know people are rushing home. They know people are going 85 in a 65.
The time frame between Christmas, like, okay, right before Christmas and like right after New Year's Day, that's whenever cops are like, all right,
Yeah.
getting business done.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's, I don't know if y'all listeners notice, I got pulled over after Christmas because I was going 85 in a 65 because it's a freaking like interstate and it should not be that freaking slow. And I think the cop knew that because he let me go. He was like, "I'll do you a Christmas miracle." And just let you go, but
You
like
were going
slow down.
absurdly fast.
It's 20 over. It's 20 over. That is too fast. And I acted like I didn't know I was going that fast, even though my cruise control was firmly set. And I'm pretty sure there's there's not a digital gauge in that car, but
No.
still, I could clearly see I was going 85. But it wasn't like criminally fast.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things where it's
So
like
it's like,
you are going faster than most of the other people, but not
only
so
by
much
like
so.
10 or 5 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty like those cops know it's 65 through there. They don't go 65. They're going 70.
Most people are going 70, which like most cops, at least in the South area, what are we, Midwest? Mid-South?
Southern
Anyways,
Midwest.
most of them, most time you can get away with driving 5 over the speed limit.
Or even 10.
Heck, even 10, depending on the area. Some
Sometimes-
places don't. Just don't.
Sometimes 15, but only if it's like a mob. If you're following traffic, you can go any speed.
So long as everyone else is going that speed.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah.
That's not always the case, but typically, yeah.
I mean, even cops will follow traffic if it's going over the speed limit.
Yeah. Because, like, it's one of those things where it's like the speed limit, although it's like, oh, you broke the law, you went 5 over the speed limit. It's one of those soft laws to where it's like, all right, everyone is going 5 over.
Yeah, it's like, okay, are you technically breaking a law? Which it's like, okay, whatever. Or are you being dangerous?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And it's once you cross the line of being dangerous or possibly dangerous that you're going to get pulled over.
Yes.
So yeah, but also at the same time, me getting pulled over, I've driven through there so many times. That section, I've gone 85 every single time, sometimes 90. Never been pulled over, never even seen a cop on that stretch of road.
Yeah.
There were like 40 of them. There was like
There's a lot,
there was
yeah.
like 10 or 15 cops on that stretch of road in the middle of nowhere, Missouri. They were practicing for New Year's.
Oh, yeah.
I am convinced of it. they were 100% practicing for New Year's and just getting their practice in for quickly getting people processed and all that kind of stuff, and pulling people over and just practicing. Which I also think is why the officer let me go with a warning. Also because it's the first time I'd ever gotten pulled over, and so there's nothing on my record, and everything else checked out. So, and I also, when he said 85, even though I very much knew I was going 85, I went, "What? Oh man, that's way too fast." Because I'm freaking an actor. I am an actor.
He may have known. It's like, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I also said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we were having trouble with our maps,"
Which is true.
It's true. That is not a lie at all. Our maps were turning us around. It was garbage. Apple Maps, what is going on with your stupid system? It tells me, hey, head towards this town going this direction. When you're heading towards said town, you're going the opposite direction you need to be going to. Or sometimes it's like, hey, go at this intersection, go on this road. But there's a whole other intersection before. And I don't know, I was like supposed to turn, but I didn't know that because you're telling me the wrong turn. What happened? When did that stop working?
Honestly, I have not ever had a pleasant experience with Apple Maps. Speaking, this is coming from someone who uses Android. Every time I have ridden with somebody using Apple Maps, it's always done something like that. I think the most egregious case is back in Kentucky. I think it was like within the first year of my marriage. We went to Dollywood with her friends, and Apple Maps is like, so you're going to go this direction, then down this road. And I'm like, I've never been down this direction. And there's a reason why. It leads to a private neighborhood that you need a code to go through the neighborhood.
Yeah, it does.
And it's like, yeah, you're going to have to go through this neighborhood to get to Dollywood, which, yes, you could if you owned a house in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you can't get in. And I'm like, why did Apple Maps suggest going this direction? They should know you can't go through here.
I've heard that from Google Maps as well, but Apple Maps is...
It's almost as if it's designed to screw you up.
So, Google Maps prioritizes...
Time, I think.
No, I think it's fewer turns and fewer miles.
Yes.
Apple Maps prioritizes time.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
So if it's technically a little faster to go through this, but it's extra turns or something, Apple Maps will take you through, Google Maps won't.
Right.
And usually Apple Maps works just perfectly, just splendid.
I've been told Apple Maps is really good in the cities.
Is really good. Yeah. The only problem I've had with it is if people, like when I'm DoorDashing, if people put in their address and they misspell what is that? Avenue. If they misspell avenue, it like craps itself. Like there's some roads in cities where it's like there's this road that's this name here, and on the other side of town there's the same road, and it's just like continued, and it's, if you looked at a map, it's a complete line, but it's not connected.
Weird.
It's super common in cities. And because there'll be like a school in the middle, or like a highway in the middle, or something like that. And so it's just not connected, but it's the same street.
Because it was at one point one solid street, and then they built over it.
If you looked at a map, you like draw a grid, and it's like, yes, this is one street, but we put a school here, and it's like 4 blocks. So so it's like, usually it's fine, but people don't know how to spell avenue, and so it like messes up, and it'll take me to the wrong side of the road and be like, oh yes, this is the closest thing we found to this address that you wanted, because it'll like, I can click it and it'll like auto enter the address, and it's like, say it's 207 North Avenue, whatever. It will take me to 707 North Avenue, which is on the wrong side of town. Maybe not too far, usually 5 minutes, but like still the wrong side. That's the only problem I've had with maps, and I'm sure Google will have the same problem.
With my experience with misspelling things, usually if you misspell something, it'll like drop down a menu being like, all right, here's your options, pick one, and you can verify. Granted, here's a problem I've noticed with a lot of people, just in general. People don't have patience to like verify things before doing it.
They just click the first one.
Yeah, and then they get mad whenever they're in the wrong spot. It's like, yeah, dummy, because you didn't take the extra 30 seconds to verify where you're going.
Or they don't recognize that certain like businesses or something will just like put, like the pin or the address, and it's like
Not
technically
even
the corner of the street, but you have to go down this street to get to the like the parking lot.
Which
and people
is
will like
aggravating.
have
Yes.
a seizure when it's like, well, what if you just like, I don't know, looked up and around and you saw the sign that's like parking over here.
Yeah, and that's
It's like life isn't as hard as people think. They're just not observant.
right. And part of the problem is that most people are publicly educated. That sounded a lot worse coming out of my mouth than in my head. But
You're right, though.
It's right. Most
Public education is indoctrination to help you work in a factory.
So my experience with
That's a
public
fact.
education has been, I have learned absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Even going through private school. Private school was good for me because I at least learned a little bit.
Huh.
But here's the end result of public schooling and even college. To my understanding, I dropped out of college.
Mm-hmm.
Could not stand the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Find less hypocrisy in a church. Not even exaggerating.
Yeah.
You're taught nothing. Everything that is important to being a functional adult is tossed out the window and disregarded. And they're like, your parents could teach you this.
Yeah.
And they should. But here's the thing. My parents work a full-time job. I'm at school full-time. When my parents get home, they still have other things to do.
Uh-huh.
Me, I have other things to do. I have homework. When do I have time to learn anything from my parents? Enter in the weekend. Do I have time to learn anything during the weekend? Sure, a little bit here and there. Are my parents going to have time to do that? Probably not.
Like what you're going to learn is like how to use the lawnmower.
That's basically it. It's like I've learned a few things, but in general, the reason why I'm going to go out on a limb and just assume that the majority of people that are late teens, like 17 all the way up to the age of 28, heck, even 30, we have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah, no.
We're told that we should already have a career on the way out of high school or at least out of college.
Yeah.
No.
Nope.
We have no idea what we're doing. We have no idea what the future holds for us. And we're told that we have to have all these things together. Meanwhile, our generation is so stressed and we're so like, we're never going to make it because college has been emphasized on us since we were like 8 years old.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're not going to make it if you don't go to college.
Yeah.
That's why so many people go to college is because you're told you are going to live in a gutter if you do not go to college. And I have realized something. I make just as much money as some of the people that spent 4 years in college.
Mm-hmm.
And I've spent I haven't even gotten through the basics in college because having to redo everything that I did in high school just in college seems like a waste of time because it is.
Yeah. The gen eds are pretty stupid.
I kind of want to go back to college. I want to do something. The problem is that I don't want to spend money on a thing that I do not understand. Like, I don't understand what degree I would want or use.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel more and more that it'd be more beneficial to me if I learned something basic, like, let's say, first aid for first responders. If I go into like becoming a first responder, like, yeah, you could get college classes in there and like become something super special, or you could just not do that and just.
So here's my thing with college. Any degree that is based is like a science degree or a um, like a trade degree or an engineering degree, you know, things like that. You know, if you got a degree in genetics or, you know, whatever, bio science or whatever, you know, if you got a degree in that, or you got a degree in engineering or electrical engineering or whatever, civil engineering, if you got a degree in welding, or, you know, your certification or whatever in welding, or you went to lawyer school, or law school, if you went to like a medical school, those are good reasons to go to college.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to learn that other places. You know, you're not going to, like, you have to take courses to be an electrician, or you have to be like mentored, which there's not a lot of places that are willing to mentor.
Yeah, like if you're going to do electrician work and you want to be certified, there's like a whole process of it, and a lot of it is doing work under an actual certified electrician and then paying a fee for taking a test, and you have to have so many hours of time spent doing this or that.
Like a professional mechanic, like not like a car mechanic that works at Jiffy Lube, like an actual like mechanic that can like fix tractors and stuff, like a real mechanic. You're gonna need classes for that, and then you're gonna need mentoring time.
And that also depends on like
then you're
what
gonna
you're
need to
doing.
take a test. And it's like, here's the degrees that don't make sense. All arts degrees, all of them.
Right.
All,
it's like
all arts degrees, all programming degrees, completely useless. All degrees in any kind of art form or anything that's creative, or things like music degrees, completely useless.
they do have their uses, but
Psychology degrees are more often than not brain rot.
tend to be.
Because it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna learn, and it's like, yeah, you learn a lot of stuff about psychology because, you know, you're taking all these classes, and so you learn things about like Pavlov and all these, you know, things, and you learn and do research. So, yeah, you know more about the human brain and the human psyche than most people. And you have to take those classes to be certified to be a psychologist or whatever.
I actually did pretty good in my my psychologist
I love
class.
psychology stuff.
Yeah, psychology. Sorry.
So like, those are good reasons. What was I saying?
You're saying that they were bad.
Like, oh yeah, I was
degrees.
saying that. Okay, here's the thing with psychology. It's you will be, unless you have a very strong will and you're very firm about what you believe about the human psyche, you're just going to be brainwashed into believing whatever you're told. And it's like, yes, you know, things like depression or like most psychological issues are usually some combination of something we don't understand, which is like, you know, just the spiritual stuff, usually
typically spiritually. Yeah.
But they don't want to say that. And then the other half is like chemical imbalances.
It's like chemical imbalances combined with like, okay, why do they? There's always a reason why things are the way they are, and sometimes they don't make sense, and that's where there's like spiritual things going on. But usually it's like, all right, this person tends to be very aggressive and angry and kind of childish. Okay, let's look at their past. Okay, they had no firm structure growing up. Yeah, so they've just never grown up.
So that's the part that you don't understand. We don't understand because it's not like it's thoughts. We can't like scientifically prove thoughts. They're not like a tangible thing. Right. But like emotions,
there's things you can test, but the testing is very like, okay, you can test this particular thing. Like, all right, this person says this thing is going to like, you know, like a truth detector.
Yeah. It's not like a chemical test that's like completely unbiased.
Right.
Like anyway, but it's like all emotions have some kind of chemical that's in your brain that correlates with it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that the chemical causes the emotion or the emotion causes the chemical because I don't know that. But they coincide. They're, when you're stressed, your body releases whatever stress hormone that I forgot what it was.
I used to know these things, but
there's like
all I know is that I need more.
Oxytocin, which is like the cuddle, and like
I just need
calming,
more dopamine.
loving, and dopamine, which is like the happy
so
chemical.
A lot of people are like, okay, my body does not produce enough dopamine. I'm not happy.
Actually, it's the reward chemical, so you don't want a bunch of dopamine.
So it's like people that suffer from depression don't have a lot of that happy chemical.
Or they have so much dopamine that their dopamine receptors have stopped taking it in. And that's why you need to
they're
live a simple life.
Typically bipolar.
Yeah.
And so like their highs are super, super high, but their lows are super, super low.
There's also a part of that where it's your brain's like your brain has electrical problems.
I could see that, yeah.
Like legitimately, like I don't know exactly how it works, but it's like your brain, your neurons and stuff, it's not like correct.
They're not
electrically
firing the way they're supposed to.
And so you can actually treat that with lithium.
Just lick a battery, guys.
Don't lick a battery. That's a very special type of lithium that's in batteries, and it's mixed with very, very toxic things. But lithium is actually, at least it was and might still be, an ingredient in 7-Up.
Here's something though. I was gonna talk about something else, but licking batteries came up. I one time had to yell at my brothers and I told them, stop licking batteries. Something I had to do.
To be fair, batteries do be kind of tasty.
So like this had to have happened when they're like either like just about to enter middle school or like the beginning of middle school. And I just in my room doing my thing, and Sicey and Larry were laughing, and I just passed them by. Like I passed by going to go get like a snack, and I just see them licking like those flat batteries that kind of look like
the button batteries.
Yeah. So I thought it was a quarter at first. I was like, that's gross. Stop licking money. But then I found out it was a battery. I'm like, stop! Stop licking a battery.
I heard those ones are like the worst to lick.
Yeah, which is precisely why my brothers are licking them, I'm sure.
That's funny. I wonder why.
They're in college to be one is working to be a game designer.
One's electrical engineer.
The other's an electrical engineer. And I caught them licking batteries. I'm very proud of them, by the way.
But yeah, basically like the lithium, it like soaks up it literally works like a battery. It soaks up electrical stuff, and so it like normalizes your electrical whatever that's in your body. So it if you're too hyper, it calms you. If you're like, it equalizes it, whatever. I don't know exactly like what the symptoms of having too much electricity in your brain.
Look, I just want to go to a doctor and have them prescribe me buying a pet. Just be like, hey,
that's a thing.
Like I want to get to a point, like I want to go to somebody and be like, hey, listen, I would be in a much better mood if I had a dog or something. And they're like, great, I know where you can go to get such and such dog. And then be like, all right, here's some like paperwork to prove that it's like an emotional support animals, which there's a lot of people that have like problems with emotional support animals, including myself, believe it or not. As much as I see the need for them, I understand that that's a thing that's...
Stop bringing your emotional support animals into restaurants, please.
Well, it's not even just that. It's just so many people abusing the idea of an emotional support animal.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like, I don't have a problem with animals being in public places. I don't really even have a problem with them being at a restaurant so long as they're clean. The problem is that usually these emotional support animals are the most disgusting things I've ever witnessed.
That or the owner just does not treat them like a service animal.
No,
they treat them like a regular dog, and it's like, no.
It's like the amount of times I've seen somebody with like a senile chihuahua or something in their shopping cart, and like they have like bandages all over their hands. They're like, yeah, so this dog just ripped my finger off last week, but I love it. And I'm just like, can someone put down his dog? This guy needs to have the dog removed.
Yeah, like
This dog is insane. It has
like,
caused you injury.
when I was a kid, that was when like service animals first started to be a thing. Well, not first, but like really became popular. Like when I was like 7, that's when I first started seeing like actual service animals. And there's a big push amongst owners that were like, here's how you treat a service animal. And it's like, they're not a dog right now.
Right.
If they're wearing this harness, they are working.
Yep.
Like, yes, they're a dog, obviously. They don't.
But they are
like,
performing a certain task, and you should not distract them.
yes, because they're still a dog, and if you pet them, they're going to go right back to normal dog behavior. But right now, they need to be making sure that my blood sugar doesn't spike or drop. And if you're distracting them, they're not going to alert me, and I could die. So it's like, please, if you can ask, or you can just be like, no, they're working right now, and just leave them alone. And they also taught me like how a service animal should act. Mm-hmm. Service animals should not be going up to people and sniffing them and whatever, stuff like that. They need to like follow their owner very tightly. They need to, when their owner sits down, they need to like lay down at their feet. Very compact, very nice, not getting distracted by food or kids or squeaky toys or whatever. Like, they highly trained animals for a very specific purpose.
Yep.
Emotional support animals are just straight up animals. They're not trained.
Most of them are not. There are a few that are, but like, they're like
PTSD specific.
Yeah.
Emotional support animals are usually pretty well trained. But just like, oh, I'm bipolar, so I have an animal to like help me with, calming down and like realizing reality. Usually those are just straight up an animal. Like, they're not trained.
Now you can get a certified animal that is for that role, and they're somewhat trained, but they're usually not to the same extent. But then you have this big push now where people have their emotional support animal, where they basically just went and bought a dog and then like filled out some simple form online and printed it out, and it's like, yeah, it's a legit thing. It's like,
but it's not working. It's like, it's acting like a normal dog.
It's like, yeah, it is, but it's also just a dog. Because I get what I have empathy for people that are in distress and have been through things that are in that place. But then you do have those people that just straight up abuse it. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes it so sucky for the people that legitimately need a service animal. Because I'm sure they're feeling a little bit of like illegitimacy of needing a support animal, because Joe Schmo over there gets a little irritated that his neighbor starts his lawnmower at 8 o'clock in the morning. And so he needs an emotional support animal to take to Walmart so it can terrorize the local employees.
Yeah. It's like, if I see a service animal barking and it's not like alerting its owner to something, it's not a service animal.
It's typically not. Yeah.
Like, either you're straight up lying and just bought a service animal vest and you're straight up lying, or
it's just a double purpose dog. It's like, it's one that would like sniff out bombs or weed or something. And it's like serving another purpose because it just, I don't know, was defective.
Have you seen police dogs, like police puppies that were rejected for being too nice?
On occasion.
Like,
I've heard of that being a thing, yeah.
Pictures of them?
No.
They're the cutest dogs. Like they're always, German shepherds and stuff, but it's like this one was rejected for being too nice, and it's just like the nicest puppy you've ever seen in your life.
They needed a dog that was more willing to rip someone's arm off.
Yeah, it's like
This one's just like, I'll hold you here.
this one's just a little too golden retriever, so we're gonna got rejected from the police academy.
You know what? That's what I need to start looking into is just being like, hey, police, what vehicles do you have for sale? What has been like confiscated for blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
What service animals have been rejected? Because it's like I
want to buy a car from a police auction.
dude, I'm in this weird place right now, and I don't know if said this yet on the podcast, but it's like I may need a new vehicle.
Yeah.
So it's like it'd be kind of nice to find like a cheap but decent truck.
Oh my gosh, like a D service, like F-150, police F-150.
Yeah.
That'd be sick because those have like the twin turbos and all the cool
Here's the
stuff
thing.
on the engine.
If you've ever looked on the inside of one of those vehicles, which I have, it's so cool. They have a rack for their AR platform service rifle.
Yeah.
Usually on the ceiling, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, like
it's so cool.
There's a lot of police vehicles where basically they take like the laptop tray out and they take like the lights out, but then they leave everything else, and so you have like this like gear shift lock that's like under the usually it's like under the steering wheel, and so it's you like flip it and it's like pretty well hidden and it's not on any other car, and so people don't usually know about it, and that way you can leave your car running, but it can't really be stolen because people are going to be like looking for the switch that's hidden.
Oh, so it's like a safety switch,
but you can't
for
take it
your
out of
vehicle.
park.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's actually really cool.
yeah. And so your engine's running, you can go really fast if you need, but it can't be stolen.
I kind of wish I had that.
Exactly. And it has
It's not really very useful for my vehicle, but it's a cool feature.
they usually keep like all the like engine parts, like all the stuff that makes it go faster than a normal, especially on like patrol trucks and stuff. They usually don't kit those out with stuff.
Well,
like
those
they
are
do
typically
the
used
like
for
the
highway patrol, not
Exactly.
so much like other things.
So like, but you have like the Dodge Charger police cruisers that are built to be faster than everyone in the area's sports car. Like they're supposed to be able to outpace
they're finely
any vehicle
tuned for that. Yeah.
finely tuned. And sometimes when they sell them, they either put a limiter on it so it doesn't go that fast anymore, or they take out certain parts so it can't make that much horsepower anymore.
I guess if they're just replacing that vehicle, and I guess they could just keep the engine if it's fine. They may just swap it out or just sell it.
Well,
engine.
they don't like swap out the engine, but they'll take out like turbochargers, and they'll take out, or they'll put like they'll put like certain like police cars, they'll like take out like alternators and stuff so that all of the power of the engine is going into the wheels. And so when they sell the car at an auction, they put that kind of stuff back in. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a car guy. But they'll do special modifications, at least they used to make them go faster, and then they'll undo those things. But the engine that's in them is still usually a faster engine than any other, like, say, the Dodge Chargers that are made for police. The engine that Dodge put in those police cruiser ones, those things are like, they're basically the fastest engine that Dodge has. Like V8, I don't know, 6 liter or whatever engine that's like way better than any other charger that you can just buy. And so they'll do stuff like that. And when the police station sells those cars after, I think they usually sell them after like 200,000 miles or something like that. Just because it's usually cheaper to get a new one instead of just like completely
building
it. But it's like you could probably still squeeze like another 100,000 miles out of it at least. It's just the police department doesn't want to worry about a police cruiser breaking down.
Yeah, you don't want to be like mid chase and be like, oh, well, there goes this part.
Oh, my coolant line blew, so I guess I have to let this guy go. Like, you don't want that.
That's what I call pod racing.
And so they'll, yeah, police cars are really cool. But
See,
like a truck, I don't think they would do modifications to the engine, so you're probably getting all of that. The only thing you're not getting is like the air horn and the lights.
See, I want to be a police officer in a Amish community, so then I can just ride a horse.
Dude,
I don't know if that's a thing.
I don't think that's a thing. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the church just like enforce everything out of like the fear of public shaming.
Public shaming and whipping.
Exactly.
I don't know what they do. I'm sorry to our like one Amish listener that we talked about last week.
The one Amish listener that's being such a rebel. And the like half dozen Mennonite listeners that are laughing at us because we don't know what we're talking about, and also they also like to make fun of the Amish, I'm sure.
Well, so like I knew people that I think either A, were Mennonite or
I know some Mennonite
are.
people.
Yeah. It's very interesting because it's like, hold on, you're not Amish, you're Mennonite. What's the difference? And they're like,
we own cars and lights.
Yeah,
we have electricity in our house, but also we're like iffy on the internet. But we have
they have a similar thing with Amish as far as like what you can wear, but they're okay with colors. They're just not okay with, I want to say buttons, because buttons are very decorative back in the day. They're less decorative now, but
I'm pretty sure they're pretty chill about it. In fact,
yeah,
I've seen some Mennonites that they're Mennonite, but then they kind of stray from the church, because as a Mennonite, like, you might be ostracized, but like you're not going to be like kicked out of the community. So it's like they're going to be like, oh, you don't follow the church. That's rude. But it's like, whatever, I guess. From what I understand, it's a lot looser. And so there's some Mennonite that are like, hey, we don't believe that like these clothing rules are biblical or whatever. And so like I've seen Mennonite people wear clothes that are like from Target, like just regular clothes. Granted, they're still usually dresses for women and like full length pants for the men. But like, the men are wearing jeans and the women are wearing like a dress that isn't either denim or just like thick black cloth. Like, it's, I don't know, a normal dress. I don't know. So it's like there's the Mennonite are very loose on stuff, and I'm just babbling at this point.
Yeah, we've been going on for quite a while. Honestly, this podcast had a little more focus than last week. Yeah, but I don't know how much of it's still usable.
Well, we needed to record 2 episodes anyway, so we've successfully done that. Yeah, but I hope y'all enjoyed the background noise that is our voices, and hopefully we'll get a guest on soon.
Do your dishes.
Yeah, don't forget to do your dishes. Don't forget to brush your teeth. You have a doctor's appointment coming up, and you should probably drink some water and take some vitamin C.
Honestly, yeah.
And some vitamin D as well, because it's winter, so you're not getting a lot of sunlight.
I need to like fix my sleep schedule. I'm thinking about just drinking the herbal teas.
Yeah,
We're about to get on another thing.
What time is it? What, like, listener? What time is it? Like,
what time do you usually listen to us?
That's actually an interesting question, but let us email us at unusablequestions@gmail.com.
Comment below.
Or comment on YouTube.
We may find it.
I do get emails when people comment, and I check the email. So
I was told that if you say like and subscribe. That usually YouTube will like pop up with a thing. Because apparently it's listening to our voice. It'll like pop up with like the whole icon of like subscribe and mouth clicking on it. So like and subscribe and share to your friends.
People do that. They put that in editing.
No, it's told that it automatically happens.
No.
Oh, really?
No.
I'm very confused on what to think now. Anyways.
People have lied to you, Gabe.
People lie to me all the time.
Actually, there is an egregious amount of people that lie to you. I don't understand why, because like...
It's never really anything important. It's just like stupid stuff.
There was a period of time where people lied to me about a lot of things, but it was always like things about them. And they were just like making fun of how gullible I was. But people never lied to me about like how the world works or like how things work. That's such a strange concept that people are willing to lie about something that's so not important, but also at the same time is just like
very confusing.
Yeah. Like that's,
yeah.
And there's some people that are legitimately just kind of dumb and get confused and they're like, oh yeah, that's...
I like to assume that people will not lie to me unless they have a good reason to.
Yeah.
But it turns out that logic doesn't really work because people just like to lie because they like to lie.
Apparently. I had a friend a long time ago when I was like 11, and this kid was like a year younger than me. So he was like 10. He was not bright. And he had like no like logical reasoning capability. And he also watched a lot of YouTuber because of course, you know, we're 11 and 10. So the only thing we talked about was like Minecraft, but he watched a lot of YouTubers that were just like clickbait.
Oh yeah.
Kind of those YouTubers, which me as I started watching YouTube when I was like 7. As a 7-year-old, I would like watch something and they'd be like, they added guns to Minecraft, like, you know, like those types of videos.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll watch it and I'll go, yeah, that's not real.
Like they did in a weird way, but it's not officially. It's more of a mod, and it's
so they got a mod, and then they just say that, oh, this is an official thing, which was really popular back in the day.
I still want them to add flintlocks because that you can actually like kind of make that with the materials available.
I mean,
and I think it'd be cool.
They have crossbows, which would work pretty much the same.
Similarly,
you load up a bolt, and then you can like switch to other things, and then at any time you can pull it out and shoot it. It works pretty much the same.
Kind of. Just see, I just want them to have more of a use for gunpowder, and then like, I just want another tool at my dispense. Something that's available to me.
Yeah.
That's more powerful than a bow or the crossbow. So I want a flintlock. I think it'd be great.
They added spyglass, like a telescope thing. That was a cool. I loved that feature. Anyway, but
we've been going on for a little while.
So like one of the biggest, I'm just gonna continue a little bit on this. One of the things that was super popular is the Aether mod for Minecraft, which basically added like a heaven dimension. Because there's, you know, the Nether, which is basically just hell.
Oh, okay.
So there's a mod that added the opposite, and it was super, super popular back in the day. And people, for whatever reason, they would make videos on that mod and not mention that it's a mod, or maybe I was too young to know what a mod was, and so I'd watch those videos and go, oh my gosh, this is really cool. And there were so many videos about it that I'm like, this must be a real thing. And so you go and like the portal was made out of glowstone, and then you put a bucket of water in the middle, and of course it wouldn't work because you didn't have the mod installed. And I swear every person who played Minecraft as a kid in my generation experienced this. Just the sheer disappointment and confusion that it didn't work.
You're like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, it's like, what? I legitimately was like, oh, I must just not have gotten the update yet. Huh. that's weird. And it was just like, eventually I figured out that it was a mod. But there's a picture that I think PewDiePie actually made popular of just, it's a meme and it's just the like a portal made out of glowstone, water like spilling out of the middle of it. And then it's just like, the caption is just like, the greatest disappointment every kid experienced.
Which is funny because when I saw that meme, I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, now just you telling me this, I was like, oh, that was the whole point of that?
That was the whole point of it. Yeah. But like, that was just super popular in early YouTube, was just to lie. But I caught on pretty quickly that was just a lie. And I was like, but I had friends who just weren't smart and couldn't think for themselves. And so they would watch all these YouTubers that were just like,
I was that person.
that were just like, oh yeah, did you know this? And I'm like, dude, that is so obviously a lie and not real. Like, how do you not see this?
I swear.
No, they added Freddy Fazbear to Minecraft. They definitely did that. There's no like Herobrine's in Five Nights at Freddy's. That's a real thing. I saw it with my own eyes. It's real. No. I'm 11 years old and I understand. No, not a real thing. Didn't happen. Not gonna happen.
They'll like show you the video and you're like, yeah, that's a real video of something that is not real.
I'm like dude, you can literally see like where they cut out that's a flat image you're looking at.
Or even it's like you said, you didn't understand mods at the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, as a kid growing up, I did not have a good understanding of technology.
Yeah.
Heck, I still don't have a great understanding of technology. I'm still learning a lot of things. With that said, it's funny whenever, like, even at work, someone will go to me and be like, hey, I need help with this thing, technologically speaking, or whatever, blah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, I know how to do this. And it's like me just clicking on things. I'm like, okay, got it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's less that I understand and more that I'm figuring it out. But as a kid, there's so much of that, like, oh, if you do this thing, you're going to get that. And it's like, so much of it was a trap and like got you downloading like viruses or straight up just viewing inappropriate content. You're like,
we're getting rickrolled.
Which honestly, that's the best part. But gosh,
like, the internet was such a wild place back then.
It's still bad, but it's at least a little safer.
It's like
now.
Contained. Like, you know where the bad is. It's not like the
it's not on like Disney's website as much because, like, granted, Disney's kind of messed up, but that's besides the point. There's a lot of ads growing up that were like on big name websites that you're like, oh, cool, that looks interesting. You'll click on that and it's a virus.
Yeah.
That's not really a thing anymore.
No, not at all.
Like, it still happens on occasion, but it's rare. And usually
really
if that
rare.
happens, it's because you're on one of those websites that's like, oh, free games. That's cool, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like,
how do people still fall for that?
Which, like, don't get me wrong, I literally was on one of those websites this week because I was like, oh, I remember this game whenever I was like in school and we played it in the computer lab. And so it took me like hours to remember the name of it.
Yeah.
Finally found it. It's called Sieges. And it's fun.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, it's like anyways, and when I was on those websites, I'm like, this is sketchy as heck.
Oh, there's all kinds of ads that are just
so many ads, and none of them really look bad, but they're like, you look at them and you're like,
it's a little too good to be true or something.
It's either that or it's like, that is so just.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I get a bad vibe from it, but that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's like,
no, I'm not gonna click that.
Yeah,
Don't click on ads.
People
ever.
I don't remember how we got to this, but like, people don't have logical reasoning. In fact, before Nintendo released the Nintendo Switch and Zelda Breath of the Wild, I was super into watching these YouTube videos that was just like pure speculation about like what things were gonna, like what the Nintendo Switch, or as they called it back then, the NX.
The NX?
Yeah. Nintendo NX. Because it was a code name. So like the GameCube's codename Dolphin, and then the Wii was something else. I don't remember. Anyway, and so Nintendo always gives their consoles code names before they actually name them and announce them officially.
Why haven't they ever like released a special edition of like those consoles, but just under that title, and just have it with like a different like skin, like hardware case, or just different design but same controls? Because that'd be kind of cool marketing.
That's basically just the early dev kits that they send out to game production companies.
Right, but I mean, like if they mass produce, let's say Nintendo made 1,000 of their Nintendo NX, and those are like basically your special edition
Nintendo Switch, yeah.
But it's like,
I don't know, probably because it'd just be straight up a worse product overall. It'd like be missing features and wouldn't be as comfortable as the real one.
Yeah, I kind of get that, but like I'm thinking you'd have to release it either with the main release of the system, and like they're just rare consoles.
Yeah. Anyway, they should probably do more special edition stuff like that. But
really, no company does that, but I think it's a cool idea.
Anyway, there's so much speculation. There's a bunch of fake leaks. There's all kinds of stuff, and I would watch these videos like every day. I would watch hours of these videos of people speculating about. It was super popular in like 2015, 2016.
Right.
I'd watch all of them, and man, some people are really gullible and really dumb. And I don't know if they were doing it on purpose just to like make a video and make money. Because it's like they're always over 10 minutes, so they could get a bunch of ads on it,
right.
All this stuff. But they just go on and on about like the same stuff, and it's just like, yeah, so like this person on Reddit released this picture of what they say is the Nintendo NX, and it's, you know, this like freaking like yeah, it's like here's a console that has a full-size screen on it, like a 7-inch screen, and it's a console that's supposed to sit next to your TV, and your health bar shows up on the console. And it's like, yeah, who wants that? Who would do that? Who would ever want a screen on the console when the console's sitting next to your TV? People have like console like cabinets. They keep the console in.
Isn't that what the Switch is? Is its own console with the screen?
I mean, yes, but it's a handheld. This concept was like, take a Wii U, slap a screen on the front of it.
Oh,
and it's supposed to sit next to your TV, and just, it's not portable. It's supposed to just sit there.
And you can't just plug it into the TV?
Well, you plug it into the TV, but then it's like an extra screen, and it's supposed to show like, you know, there's always mock-ups of like.
So they're basically trying to sell a DS.
Yeah, but it's like, so it's like, or they'll be like, oh, this new console, I bet it's gonna be like based off of the GameCube. Like they're gonna go back to like GameCube style stuff, and it's like they're finally, you know, they're gonna. There's all kinds of stupid stuff that people would.
I grew up believing the GameCube was a super successful Nintendo product. Only to realize as an adult that it really wasn't.
Yeah, no.
It just everyone I knew had one except for me. And so I was like, oh, it's because it's so successful.
Yeah,
not the case.
And of course, there's leaks that's like, you know, after the Switch was announced, they're like, so the Switch is going to come standard with 1 terabyte of storage on board.
Is it?
Or something? No,
it's like what?
It's like 32 gigabytes. Like it's like a 16%.
Granted, you can buy a memory card to plug into it, which I did.
Yeah, which I think
it's not a terabyte, but
that's probably
it's more
the
memory.
top you could probably get is probably like 512 gigabytes.
I'm sure you could probably get a terabyte hard drive for that.
You can get a hard drive, but it's not going to work on a Switch because you have to get those micro SD cards.
You can't really get a terabyte of that, can you?
Maybe, but they're going to be like new.
Yeah, I don't know enough about technology.
I don't even think the Switch supports. No, I think they in the code, there's a maximum storage size you can have, and I think it's at a terabyte because they just did that to like future proof. Anyway, there was like, there was one leak that was like they took a GameCube controller and then like split it in half and put like this oval screen in the middle, and that was like a leak. Like, and like they like made this like mock-up thing in like Blender or whatever, 3D software, and then they made it look super real, like it was an actual photo of it sitting on a desk and something. And it was like people were convinced that that was what the console was going to look like. That's Nintendo's next big thing, is like they're going to integrate the screen with the buttons, and so that like has, it's like a touchscreen controller, like the whole controller is touchscreen, and then like it has like the 3DS like thumb pad stick things that were not great. And that was like a super popular idea of like that's what it's going to look like. And I was convinced for a little while, and then like no one else ever confirmed that that's what it was going to look like. Or anyone who did confirm that that's what it's going to look like turned out to be lying. And so it was pretty quick, like within a month people were like, yeah, this isn't real.
Well, granted, when the Switch did release, they did end up making what is it? So like kind of like the GameCube controller slide, like they have like parts that can slide onto the screen.
I don't think that's not even an official Nintendo product, but they licensed it.
They licensed it, but they didn't make it.
They don't actually produce it. But here's the thing. No one, until I think up to a month before they announced the Switch, no one had even thought of the idea of a console that's just a screen with detachable controllers on the side. Basically a Wii U gamepad with detachable...
They all thought that the controllers were like... You couldn't take them off?
No one had even thought of the idea of detachable controllers until like a month when there was like a real leak about, because they started like making promotional stuff for the big announcement, and so more people inside the company knew what it actually looked like, and so more people were leaking what it was gonna look like. And it was just like no one even thought of that. And so like I spent like 2 years just being like, and these YouTubers spent 2 years just theorizing about what the Nintendo Switch was going to look like, and we weren't even close.
But here's the thing. Those YouTubers made money off of that, didn't they?
Oh, they did. My favorite thing, though, was theorizing about, it was at the time called Zelda Wii U, or Zelda U, which turned out to be Breath of the Wild. And people were like, oh, I bet that this Zelda game is going to be like this. It's going to... I'm trying to remember.
It's gonna be like Assassin's Creed meets Minecraft.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff like, it's...
I was just making fun of them.
There was a lot of people that thought that there was going to be like some kind of like building mechanic like Minecraft, or like it was going to be like a real like survival game.
I kind of wish it was a survival game.
And I was like, I heard that and I was like, no, that's just straight up not what Zelda is.
I would enjoy the fact that it'd be cool if Link had a hunger bar and you had to like feed him to keep him like his strength up. Because I love those kind of survival like games. Because it's like if anyone remembers the game Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, I believe it's 3. That game was a lot of fun to me. You played as Snake, and the whole idea is that you're having to like go in and just do your stealth thing, but there's a hunger bar, and you had to like salvage food while you were like running away or fighting enemies or boss fights, and you had to like treat your own wounds. Like if you got shot, you had to like remove the bullet. You had to like treat it. You had to have like this. It's cool.
I'm pretty sure there's an Easter egg in that game.
Oh, there definitely is.
If right before you fight the last boss or whatever, if you just leave, you just turn on, like you just save, turn off the game and you don't play it for like over a year or over 2 years, you come back, the main villain will have died. Like he just like dies of like basically is like he waited there like wherever he was for like 2 years and he just died.
There is something in there that's like that, but I don't know if it's with the main villain. But there's a character in that game who is a sniper that you have to like you have to beat him. But this guy is so freaking old.
Mm-hmm.
Like this guy was like serving, I think, in like World War One, and this is like I think Cold War era.
It's like the 80s.
Yeah, so this guy's old as heck.
Yeah.
And what you can do is you enter in the fight, and if you just save the game in the fight, like you just hide somewhere and save the game, and don't play the game. I believe for only a week.
Oh, really?
It might be 2 weeks, but I'm pretty sure it's just a week. And you get back into the game. A cutscene will start, and you're like sneaking through the woods looking for the sniper, and you end up right behind him, and you like go to like, I think you tap him on the shoulder, and he just falls over dead.
Yeah.
He just died of old age.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, so you don't even really have to fight him.
Cool
You just have to have enough patience to not play the game for a week.
Yeah. Or like there were some people who thought that Zelda U was like, oh, you're going to be able to play as Zelda, or like there's going to be like a real like a
People have been wanting to play as Zelda for decades.
or like I can't even think of a game that's like this, but like a game where you have to like follow Zelda around to her different like destinations, and it's like you're basically just playing as Zelda's knight, and it's not going to play anything like a
You mean
Zelda
Mario?
game. What?
You mean like Mario?
You mean like Mario?
So like as Mario, you go into a castle, you beat Bowser up, and Toad is like, "Well, the princess isn't here."
No, not like chasing after Zelda.
Oh,
Like
okay.
you're with Zelda.
Oh, like a party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I was like, yeah, that's just straight up not gonna be a thing.
I
Like
wouldn't
that's
mind that.
like I was like, that's a cool idea. Not gonna happen.
No,
Guess who was right? Me,
yeah.
because I used logic. It was like there so many people threw out so many wild ideas, and they were like, there was even one video where they took like some test footage, and they were like, they took like the Twilight Princess map of Hyrule, and they were like, I think based off of this and this clue that this footage comes from an area that's in like Hyrule Field or whatever near Eldin or whatever. And I'm like, that's cool. Every single Zelda game has had a different map, like drastically different.
Yeah, even with Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, different place. It's not the same Hyrule.
Well, actually, Majora's Mask isn't even in Hyrule.
Oh, really? Okay, that explains it then.
But
yeah,
it's
it's
like-
like it's not always the same.
it's like, okay, yeah, certain places are usually in the same general area where it's like the Hyrule Castle's always in the middle,
Typically,
and then everything else is around it, and then usually Kakariko is in like the foothills of Eldin, like the mountain area. That's like pretty common things. Not always accurate. And like a big departure for Breath of the Wild was that the Zora place, like the Lanayru province or whatever, is in a completely different spot than it's ever been in any other game. So it's like, yeah, you can't just like take some footage from this new game and be like, oh yes, it's gonna be like this old game. Especially not with the Zelda stuff. There's a cat outside.
oh, is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I thought I saw it earlier, but
think that's more than enough. I don't know if we can use any of this. In fact,
we
we
rambled
can't
a
use any of
lot.
this. Wait, here's a funny story.
Oh goodness.
From church, the pastor today. He was like, okay, everyone, I want you to just like, so he's doing a series on stretching, like a series on like being stretched as a Christian and, you know, growing and stuff. That kind of stretching. And he's like, and we haven't done any like real stretching. So everyone stand up, put your hands up and just kind of reach out and stretch and put your head back. And as everyone's like actually stretching, he goes, see, I knew you could lift your hands during worship. You've all been caught. It was so funny.
Yeah, everyone's just like,
You're
right.
Here's the thing. Look, I like that church. I especially like the people there. I like the pastor. Worship's subpar. I think it could use some work.
I think it's better than places I have been before, though.
Oh, there's absolutely places with worse worship, but it's just I like it when a worship team plays songs that people actually know.
That sounds like it's more
That's
of a
like
personal problem,
90% of like modern churches play songs that the worship leader hears and just thinks is cool. But it's like I can't sing along because I don't know what the song is gonna be. Which I think is like I think that's why so many like Orthodox churches use like hymns.
Because if you don't know it by now, by golly, the spirit of your great great grandmother should know it.
Yeah. But it's like you know it, and so you're able to really like process the words and really sing it out and really mean it, which means that you're in a more real heart of worship than if you're just like, this is a song and I'm going to try and follow.
Yep.
So there's my take on worship. Also, I think worship services that are under 30 minutes are lame. I want to be in a worship service with like that lasts for like an hour with like some minor breaks, like take communion halfway through or like take a prayer break. But I want like an hour, a solid hour of worship.
I kind of want to like,
and then like
have
30
lunch.
minutes. Have lunch.
I think it'd be interesting to have a church that's like, hey, guess what? We're having lunch every single time we're doing service.
There's a church that meets at the restaurant that I used to work at, and they serve dinners. Yeah.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, they're on like Tuesday nights.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye, guys.
We've gone on for a while.
Yeah, we have. This is real. The music's playing, so
Yeah,
it's real now. We're actually leaving.
What happened to the music?
Oh.
Are you being serious?
Now we're leaving.
Okay.
We're ending it now. Oh, one more thing. No.
At first I thought that was a legit problem.
Bye.
You have a good night.
I'm so tired.